Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hansen, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all in this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Well, this is Rick Hansen and Ricky Brule for the Don't Die Rusty podcast. Ricky's in Minnesota, but I am in wonderful, wild Las Vegas here with Frank Charles. He's works with Total Archery Challenge. I'm going to have a little chat with Frank, and then I'm going to go get Sean DeGrey, the owner of Total Archery Challenge, who actually has probably brought us all together.
He seems to be the puzzle piece, yes.
Yes. So to start out this thing, yesterday, it's funny because I knew I was coming to Las Vegas, and I thought, what would be the best thing to start the Don't Die Rusty thing but to jump off the stratosphere? So Frank says, you know what? I want to jump off the stratosphere. I didn't we'll get to the story here in a second, but I really didn't literally mean like dive off like Superman like Frank did. But anyway.
That speaks volumes as to why we feel that Frank is a good candidate for the Don't Die Rusty podcast.
Yes. We left yesterday at 3. We got down there, got all set up. I mean, we're going to have video of this thing too. We got a lot of video of all kinds of things. So it's pretty cool. And Frank and I got set up, and then you better have, we'll just say for a male, you better have everything in the right place or you might get hurt, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no kids coming if you're not. It's really cool. You're harnessed in.
They cover your side, they cover your back. It's a pretty safe situation. They make you feel good, but it is tight.
It is tight. And so Frank and I went up to the top, and we're standing there, and they take 3s up, and this other guy was with us, and they said, who wants to go? And I said, me and Frank kind of want to go together. Like Frank goes first or I go first. And Frank is like, he was so excited. I thought we better put a harness on him before he just jumps, you know? And it was so fast to get to the top of that.
Yeah. They take you up. They 3, 2, 1, and you're off.
And it's the tallest one in America.
It's really cool, Ricky. 1,200 feet or something.
So do you think next year Ricky comes out and we go jump off that sucker?
Let's do it, Ricky.
I'm in.
I like hearing that.
Yeah.
So, so then we get up to the top. We paid for pictures, so me and Frank got a picture up on top of the stratosphere together, and then they take you in, and it's kind of like you're in a cell block in a jail. It looked like to me, kind of, they open and shut the door. Frank goes in and he puts his hands up, and then he puts his hands up again, and then you get your foot on the yellow line, and then you're supposed to jump. Well, Frank got out there and he's all set to jump, and I'm not kidding you. I stood there, but Frank just ran and jumped. Like, okay.
Well, as soon as she said I could go, I was looking forward. I was going to try and pull a gainer off the top, but the straps on the back wouldn't let my feet go up. So I just dove as far as I could, figured if it doesn't work, I'm going to land on the strip, not the landing pad.
Oh, that's so cool.
So then I get in there, and I told the guy, I said, I'm not doing what he did. He said, I wouldn't do what he did either. And we have this is a cool thing. We had little wrist straps. Both of us had little wrist straps with GoPros on. So we'll get to see, and they get you all hooked up. They weigh you again. They weigh you one time, and they weigh you the second time, and then you're checked twice up on the top too.
After you're triple checked at the bottom.
Yes. And then so and I'm talking to the guy, and then they got me all hooked up, and they said, yep, Bree's ready to go. 3, 2, 1. I said, whoa. I'm not ready yet. It's going to be kind of a funny thing there. And then I said, just give me a second here. And then it was 3, 2, 1, and I was off. And it's cool because, it's not that it's not for me. It's not that I want to die. It's that I want to feel that adrenaline rush. I want to feel like you've done
Alive.
something. And when we got to the bottom, we did not need a Red Bull all night. I assume Frank went in some other places, but
First thing he said is, "I feel great."
yeah,
Yep.
and it makes you feel alive. Like it's like you've done something that we had friends that were videoing us. Russ and Kelly from Badass
Mm-hmm.
and Jesse Kurtenbach filmed us, and they're ones that aren't going to go. Oh well, Russ and Jesse are not going to leave the ground if they don't have to. They didn't even want to go and look off the top. Kelly wanted to jump with us, but they videoed us. But it's like, how many people won't go jump like that?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and we do. And it's interesting how everybody has their own ways of not dying rusty, and they don't have to go jump off this. This is our point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
To heck,
anyway,
to heck with the ice baths in the morning. Let's just jump off the stratosphere every morning, right?
exactly.
Imagine the sunsets photos that you could get every morning. You know what I mean? Like instead of
Oh yeah,
riding an elevator up to the top of the stratosphere, Rick, you climb the stairs, right? To get
yeah,
Yeah,
your
man.
morning.
yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah.
Good good
Tomorrow
photo of the
morning.
sun,
Yes.
good
So,
good photo of the sunrise and then dive right off, man. Get the day going.
yep. So to preface Frank, I've known Frank for
Probably 8, 9 years.
at least 8 or 9
At least.
years. And it was always funny because I met him at Total Archery Challenge, and in the beginning, it was like it was a quiet thing. We hung out, but we didn't really talk. I mean, we talked. You know what I mean? But we were we were
Acquaintance.
yes, and we were kind of maybe feeling each other out. Like, is this a real dude or not? I don't know.
And I'm cautious. I do that with everyone. I apologize. I'm reserved. I keep to myself for the most part. And then Rick was such an outstanding guy, and I'm just inspired by his will to live and thrive
Well,
that I was naturally drawn to him eventually, and luckily he let me in.
and you're like a brother.
Absolutely.
So then Frank and I started like it was interesting because Patrick Booth used to work for Total Archery Challenge too, and is like we were challenging each other to get those targets down to the bottom. I mean there was nothing. Nobody said this isn't like crap talking anybody. It was like we just wanted to prove to the world
If he
we
has
could do
4 on his back, I'll just put 5 on.
exactly 5 targets, and then we're taking them to Frank, and then you know what? I realized in about 3 years ago, I think I realized I'm old enough that I'll help Frank just load up the pickup when we're taking them down the targets, and then Frank and I really started getting, we're driving, picking up targets, and we started talking philosophically and stuff like that, and I started learning a lot more about you, and it's just amazing. And Frank here, if you ever meet him anywhere, he is the nicest person I've ever met. I mean, he is cool. He is genuine. I'm not trying to give him a big head here, but he will, he'd take off the shirt on his back and give it to you, kind of guy. And this is when we talked before, Ricky, me and you talked about the people we surround ourselves with and who makes us better.
Yeah.
And Frank is one of those people that have made me better because I think about things and I'm just so lucky. And I mean, to know you, but here's where we're going to go with this. And I hope people can learn something or maybe and be inspired. But I, I knew a little bit about Frank's past, just a little bit, but not, I don't delve into past because you know what? We're always moving forward. That's what Don't Die Rusty is like. Knock that rust off and keep one step at a time going forward.
Frank, I don't know you really well, but we've had several dozen encounters in the various mountains around the country through the Total
Right.
Archery Challenge. And every single time I've had an encounter with you, always a smile on your face, always, just really easy to communicate with. And to go back to what you're saying, Rick, about surrounding ourselves with good people, right? Like,
Yep.
so again, I don't know you real well, Frank, but I know Rick real well. And if Rick says you're a good guy, then you're a good guy. And that it just goes, it's just a trickle down effect, you know, the same thing like with ears, you know, I know you guys, you know, probably know each other really well too. And I know multiple good people in this world, and all of those people would say that you're good people. So,
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes, and this is, and because this isn't about just talk. This is talking to everybody that has a story to tell that will inspire people to be a better person.
yeah.
And and I would, you know, it was funny because we talked and I drove down to Colorado just to hang out. Didn't even take a bow down to Colorado Tack this year.
Didn't even tell us you were coming. Just
Didn't
showed
say
up.
any, yeah, and just showed up. And this is Frank, all right? We show up, and I think it was like probably 2-ish in the afternoon. I see Frank. We talked to a few people, see Frank, and Frank takes us right to Cindy and I to the top of the mountain to see the wildflowers.
Mhm.
And we got to chat a little bit then. But the best times I have with Frank, and and it could be a selfish sense, is our early mornings.
Love the early mornings.
And so the next day, Frank takes me up to the top of the mountain, and we're looking at the wildflowers and the sunrise.
We got up early. We went up at like 5 that morning.
Yes, we did, and it was just like, you know, you get the cool mountain air, and I got to talk to Fiona yesterday, and we're talking about how like she grew up on the ocean, but she's attracted to the mountains. There is something about a morning air, sunrise, especially that time of the year where the flowers are coming up and stuff. And there's this, what was that spot that we stopped at with
The Eagle's Nest landing, or is that what it was?
something like that? And Frank and I are sitting there talking, and I knew, like I said, I knew Frank a little bit, past just a little bit, but he started telling me the story about you were addicted.
Yeah.
And he started telling me this thing, and I'm saying, and this is after me and you have talked a little bit, Ricky, too, and I'm having this thought, I want to do a podcast. And I said, Frank, I don't want to hear your story, because I think if I hear your story, then I won't ask the right questions. That day I felt there was something about you, Frank, that inspired me even more, knowing after you told me the little bits and pieces of that story. Because my question to anybody that's ever been addicted is, because I have to admit, I haven't done anything like that. I mean, I'm probably addicted to living life and stuff like that, but I'm not addicted to something others. And I my biggest question is, what flicks your switch to make you decide that I'm not going to be addicted anymore? You know what I mean? I understand that there's other things going on, but Frank was telling me the story, and so can you tell me a little bit about your addiction and something else?
Absolutely.
And
Well,
you don't have to tell the world everything, but you know what I mean.
Now you're all welcome to hear my whole story. So when I was very young, I got involved with doing some stupid things, and I was always taught, "Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this," and that made a lot of sense. But if it's so bad, why are all these people doing it? It didn't make sense. So I dove in and figured out why they're doing it. Well, a lot of those things make you feel fantastic inside and out, and cover up everything that's bothering you on the outside. Not getting into what happened before then and why I would have chose that direction, but I did. And my drugs were cocaine and heroin. I did them every single day for 3 years. I got as deep and as dirty and as gross as I can even imagine. And, you know, it took me several attempts to try and find that switch, Rick, that I wanted to thrive and strive to be something more, because I lost it. I didn't have a will to do anything but those drugs, and I lived that way for quite a while. And honestly, it took me getting not. I mean, they say to the bottom of the barrel, or phrase it however you want, but I had to get there, live there, and then one day. I mean, not for anyone else but myself, because I had tried to quit for everyone and everything and every purpose on the planet. But the only thing that I could actually do it for was I had to take an outside look at myself, and I did not like what I saw. I was not happy to the point that it made me make a choice.
Was that like an epiphany, or
It
was
was
it like,
an epiphany.
You know what I mean?
And I'm not going to tell you exactly when and where that happened,
Yeah.
but I was looking around me and looking at the people that I was with, like you were talking about. I was surrounding myself with people that I did not approve of, that I did not want to be. And it took me to take a step back and look at myself, Rick, as that person. I always looked at myself and, oh yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm not as bad as them. I'm not this, I'm not that. One day I looked at myself and I looked at the way that the people that did care about me, like Sean, he stuck with me. He came and sat with me in bed one night when I was going through withdrawals and wouldn't let me leave. And I probably screamed and called him lots of names, and he stuck with me. So it takes someone like that. I mean, Sean's been an inspiration for me my whole life, but it took me taking a step back at myself and realizing I was everything that I was looking down on. I was that person, and I didn't like it enough that I smacked
Mm.
myself in the head. I got up and I never did it again. Fastest way, the easiest way to quit doing something is not to wean yourself off of it. It's not to slow down. It's to start now,
So,
not tomorrow.
because you, when you were on the top of the mountain, you said that Sean stood by you, like Sean and Monica, wasn't it?
Sean and Monica at one point while I was, this is right before I saw myself that way, but basically I was checking myself into a rehab and I wanted to go in not hurting so bad. So I was taking a week where I locked myself in a room and Sean and Monica came and sat with me. I don't even remember that, to be honest with you, but they told me that they were there. I was sweating, trying to crawl out of my own skin, freezing. It was a miserable, miserable 12 days, but eventually I woke up and I was in rehab because halfway through we got me checked in. I looked around and took a real hard look and I stayed there for a fat minute till I got better.
Well, that, see, to me that's inspiring in in more than just you, Frank. I mean, it's inspiring for me that you stop, but I just, this "Don't Die Rusty" thing, that it just came in. I just thought it was amazing stuff. But how many people? I mean, we talked about this, surrounding yourself with the good people. How many people would just volunteer? I mean, you're good friends, but you know what I mean. That, because just come and sit with you and say, "I'm going to help you."
He owed me nothing, and he just did it out of just being a phenomenal person. And for that, I owe. There's nothing I wouldn't do for Sean DeGrey.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, yesterday I got sentimental with Fiona, but it's one of those things that it just makes me happy in my heart.
It makes me happy too to know that I was able to do this, and if I can do it, anyone can.
Yeah.
Not that e- everyone's got their own special things about them
Yep.
and things where to make them shine. And I can do this, and I guarantee anyone else can too. And Rick, the Don't Die Rusty, keeps me going. Quick story: like when we were doing total archery at the first stages, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I show up, and I had no idea. We start carrying targets all over the place. I meet Rick further into this, into this, and I'm out of shape. I've lost 30 pounds and kept it off since I started, but I'm struggling to get up these mountains. And there's this guy that's older than me, and he's hiking and carrying 15 targets and making me look stupid. So I'm looking at Rick. I'm like, I'm gonna keep up with that guy one day. And then year after year, we kept going and kept going. And I remember one year, I believe we were at the end of the Sitka course, and we're talking about a target clear up there, and I just ran up the mountain. Rick's like, "Whoa, where'd that come from? Slow down."
That's right.
But Rick, you were the inspiration, honestly, that I felt like, you know what, this guy's killing me, and he's making me look dumb, and I'm gonna get there. So, just keep thriving and striving to be the best you can. That's what you inspire me to do.
Well, thank you. But I mean, it's fun. Like, you taking us to the top of the mountains and shoot early. You know what I mean? And we get to see those sunrises together. And Ricky got to see that with us earlier at Terry Peak, and it's amazing. Like at Big Sky,
Mhm.
and it's, you want to know how humble you are. It's funny because you take us to the top of the mountains, and I say we want to take a picture, and it's like, Frank, I have a tripod here. I want you in the picture too because you're part of the family.
It's definitely a family.
I mean, you can pick your friends, you can't pick your relatives, so
True story.
and you're you're a good friend, and it's awesome to hear. And I'm
You know, you
happy.
got a good guy that's got your back when he's willing to, drive you, Rick, off the mountain, laying over the hood of the side by side.
Yeah.
Battered and beat up on the top of the mountain. He'll get you down somehow.
Exactly. It,
Not just up, but down too.
I mean, you came out of this. You worked with Sean. You've done Total Archery Challenge, and you keep moving. After you got cleaned up and you started doing Total Archery Challenge, what do you do when you're not chasing those targets?
On the off season from TAC, I do work for Sean full time, so I got a lot of shop work, getting rid of targets and things. I have a ton of hobbies. I love to go fast. I love jumping off things.
I could see that too many times.
I'm adrenaline junkie. I love that part of life. The faster it can make my heart beat, the better I feel.
Well, good, because you live in Utah, and you I think you Jeep a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a Jeep that can go pretty much anywhere.
Uh-huh.
I've got mountain bikes and road bikes, and I have a lot of hobbies.
So no, and then if you ever follow Frank, he puts out some funny memes that he finds. I don't know where he finds these memes, but
They pop up on my feed, and I just share them, man.
and he puts out some cool stuff. Ricky can attest, and I just feel lucky and privileged to know you.
Me as well, Rick. It's mutual.
So,
Gotcha, buddy.
That's me shaking your hand.
I just thank you. And if you're ever at a Total Archery Challenge and you see Frank running around, you'll know Frank, and just give him a thumbs up, because this guy is one of the hardest working guys out there. Because I've been beside you, and now you're kicking my ass.
Well, and Sean sets a standard that we'll do anything for anyone. I mean, every single person that comes to a tech event, there's nothing that you could ask for that's realistic that we won't try to get done for you. It doesn't matter if you're the biggest vendor or a guy who shows up for his first time. We love everyone. We welcome everyone. We want everyone to have a good time. And that's what I'm here for, to help.
Well, yes.
I spent a lot of time before I worked with Sean working in boys' homes and working with children that have been taken away from their families and things like that. It was a great job for me because I have a need to help and to give and to make things right. And a lot of these kids never had a chance with the peers that they have around them, unfortunately. But to stand up and be the one person to be solid for them, to follow through. There's nothing that makes you feel better when you hear this kid that dropped out of school in 6th grade is now graduating and thriving. He's not gonna die rusty because someone stood up for him when he never had that before. And I did love being that guy, but I also love Total Archery, and it kind of took over.
But in those instances, though, you see those people that you've influenced. Then you know what I mean, and you have the family, the daughter that you should see your eyes when when you talk about that stuff, and by you influencing not only them but also other people around you, that is something that the world needs.
I believe so, and I believe that every little bit that we can do to influence positively trickles down so far that you sometimes don't even realize how far your influence on me affects other people around me. So it goes a long way, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Rick.
Yes. And we're going to ask this question at the end of every podcast. And I'm going to ask you, what's a good life? What's a good life to Frank?
I'm living a good life, Rick. my life's a good life. I wake up and I'm happy every day, and I'm looking forward to whatever the adventure brings. So for me, it's moving forward. I mean, you can't forget about the past.
Yep.
Always got to learn from it, but there's certain things in there that you just got to let go and move forward, and that's a lot more fun for me. So that's a good life.
Well, I like hearing that, and then
Caught me off guard on that one.
That is a good life. The past is a memory. Some memory, I kind of like put my memories in columns. Like those ones I learned from, and these ones I cherish. Just when you were talking about the boys' club, or I mean not the boys, the center you worked at, you had experience over here. Like things weren't good here,
right?
But you know what? That kid graduating now, that's has to go into a good memory.
Right. And a lot of that comes from me being able to relate to these kids in a way that nobody else could because of the background that I had. I grew up without parents. I mean, I was raised by a bunch of Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But at any rate, the people that do stand behind you and being that one influence that is solid and having someone, even if they don't last that long, just knowing that someone cared and believed in you enough that you can believe in yourself ish. A lot of times is enough to take someone and put them into a situation where they can keep growing forward and not die rusty.
There you go. So, but it's I just look at that as every day, like if I can influence one person and you can influence one person, and Ricky can influence one person, that keeps adding up and adding up. Maybe we can change the world.
Maybe we can.
I mean, because this world needs more positive instead of negative. And I'm not saying that life is sunshine and roses, but I'm saying we can make it a better place because we're not so negative.
Absolutely.
So,
Positivity spreads.
you have anything else out there, Ricky?
Yeah, I just want to say that I wanted to comment about the acts of service that you were doing for those young men that needed a good solid role model, and I don't think you should sell yourself short in that you've kind of brought that into the archery world, because for me, shooting a bow is therapy, and like Sean's podcast, life is better with a bow, right? And so the service that you're providing all of those individuals on the mountain, you don't know what's their story is. You don't know what's going on with them. And just by simply giving a guy a ride, or even just giving him a smile or a handshake or a pat on the back, is sometimes all a guy needs. And sometimes I need to do that for myself, because sometimes I walk around and I'm in my little bubble and I just want to focus, and I don't, and sometimes all a guy needs is just that, and you do that. And so, and it's great that Rick can also inspire you to be that person as well. And just congratulations on getting yourself out of that rut, and then essentially knocking the rust off with a little DDR 23, and then keeping it off. Thank you for living the don't die rusty ethos, and just keep on keeping on, man. I look forward to seeing you at some more tacks here in the upcoming season.
Absolutely. We got 10 coming up.
That is amazing. And the other thing is, you take us up to the tops of the mountains, and we never know who we're going to be riding with some days. And we have met many new friends all the time. So you influence. It can be multiples. Thank you for all you do, Frank.
No problem.
So I just want to say, keep chasing your dreams and don't die rusty.
You too, Rick.
Thank you very much.
You the man.
Love you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ricky.
You got it. Rick, I'm going to have to step out.
All right. Talk to you later. And you guys tell Susan and everybody hi.
I will.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
We'll see you, brother. Bye.
Well, now I'm with Sean DeGrey here in Las Vegas at the Cowboy Christmas, helping people shoot arrows and have
That's
a
right.
good time and putting big smiles on people's faces.
That's right. 90% of the people shooting haven't never picked up a bow.
That is amazing.
So it's kind of cool to be able to provide something like that. That's fun, easy. We're using recurves. It's just a good time.
It is a good time, and it's
Intro to the bow.
and it's interesting. Me and you have talked about this many times. I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about you since you're here. Your wife's not here.
She is not.
And
I wish she was. Ugh,
I do
tired
too.
already. We've only been working for a few days.
It's because she's about that much more friendlier than you.
Yeah. She's definitely on the upper friendly scale, and she's a way better storyteller.
Really?
Oh yeah.
She never told me a ton of stories.
Well, maybe just wasn't story time.
All right. But I guess I didn't introduce him besides Sean DeGrey, but Sean DeGrey owns Total Archery Challenge. And most of you, any of the listeners that know me personally, know that I love shooting a bow.
Yeah.
And they know that I love Total Archery Challenge. And
yeah, you've been with it since it started.
Yes. Amazing.
Even before it started. Sorry, guys, we're working and podcasting.
Yep.
Gotta hand Frank some cashola.
There we go. And it's become it's interesting how it's just a family affair.
Yeah, since the beginning, that's kind of what we wanted. We do want to provide it. It doesn't matter, family, not family. We want you there, but we did want to make it friendly enough that families could come and enjoy it, and it's worked.
It has. I mean, it's interesting to me. Like I mean, you've given us let us go up early,
Yeah.
and
Well, we better add in there that why
We
do you
work
go up early?
because we
you work
work.
your butts off,
Yes.
setting up, tearing down the whole 9 yards. So
Exactly.
that's the benefit of what you guys have been able to do to help us out, getting that thing going and getting us out of there quick. And so, you get to
But
go up early.
you have. I don't know if some of your stories are true on some of this aspects of tear downs. Like tear down in Michigan was an hour and a half. You guys can't do that, and then we get it to an hour. Right?
Yeah.
We chase.
Yeah, no, so we never lie.
Okay.
But that was the motivator. We know you're very competitive too, you and your gang. So
Yes.
Old Michigan,
Yeah.
when we were at Boyne Mountain, was a fast tear down. If we did tell you an hour and a half, we may have
Yep.
stretched the truth there.
Well, it wasn't an hour and a half, but I was just using
Yeah,
that. So
no, I know,
getting us competitive there because we want to win.
Yeah,
And we have competitive people that want to win. The crew, and you have made an event that, like, when I say family friendly, but I'm saying there are people that have came into the circle that they would do anything for each other. If I hadn't seen you for a year, might not even talk to you for a year. That wouldn't happen.
I know what you're saying. Hypothetical.
But we would. You could call them up and say, "Hey, man, I need some help. I have a flat tire, or I'm close, or you know what I mean. We're coming to help you."
Yeah,
And-
absolutely. No, you're right. The TAC family, not that the participants aren't part of the family, they are. But you're talking the immediate, with our vendors, sponsors, people that travel event to
Close
event
circle.
to event, like that. Yeah, it has turned into a great family, if you will, of an event. It's a circus.
Yes.
And we're all the carnies chasing it event to event, and have gotten built some really, really incredible relationships along the way. Like a Badass Outdoors. I know you've created a really strong relationship with them too. And,
Yes.
And they've been around since the first event.
Yes. And you can't meet a nice. She is really Kelly's
awesome. Russ, borderline.
Well, I didn't want to go too far into that. I was going. Kelly is badass. Russ,
Yeah. Sometimes there's Kelly at Badass, and then there's Russ. Just kidding. Russ is awesome.
Yes, we've got those relationships going, and this is just amazing. But since this is a Don't Die Rusty podcast, and it's not Life is Better with a Bow podcast, so
we got that one too. But you're right. I know what you're saying.
I want to talk about not being rusty.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's not funny because a car wreck is not funny.
No, but some of the aftermath, I think a lot of people found humor in. Certainly my brothers. I had some issues that were laughable.
So can you tell us about, I know your story, so the audience out here might know your story, and because your story inspires me, and then I want to talk about Frank when we get done with your story a little bit too.
In 2004, we were hauling horses to Idaho with a friend of mine. We were trading some horses to his dad and picking up a couple others. And this was in early spring. It was in April. And we blew out a tire literally like 6 miles from our exit. Blew out a tire on the freeway. We were doing 75 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. When we went through, we were headed northbound. We went through the median into southbound. The trailer popped off. Don't know why, but the horse trailer breaks away. And for whatever reason, we don't know why, but I better add this in because this is the first question people always ask. Well, how were the horses? The horses were fine.
They went for a ride.
They just went for a ride, and the trailer stopped in the median. The brakes on the trailer worked, apparently. But the truck, when they release all that tension, it catapults the truck, and we rolled a few times, and we hit a motorhome and a van it was towing and whatever. End up on the freeway upside down. Todd, my buddy, was ejected, and then I didn't have my seatbelt on. I was pinned in. It's a 40-60 split bench seat, right? So it opens up, my lug falls in, and it closes around my leg.
Ooh.
Just above my ankle. Didn't even break the skin.
Really?
Just held me in place. Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
So anyway, and his son was in the back in a car seat, and he, he had a cut on his head and that, but he was in really good shape. He was definitely protected in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so we roll, whatever. I ended up having brain trauma, and it was pretty significant. They went in, removed some blood clots, whatever. But it hit me in a part of the brain. I don't know the name of it. Long story short, it's over here.
Yeah.
And they're like, tell my wife, hey, he's, there's gonna be some anger issues. And so you need to kind of pay attention to this. And it was true. I mean, I went from being what I considered pretty patient guy to a very angry person. The smallest thing could set me off. And that was a struggle that we had to work through, Monica and I. And she had a baby, our first, 5 weeks later. And it was a emergency C-section. He came early. They say due to stress, blah, 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 whatever. So he's in the hospital. I'm in the hospital. She's dealing with all this. And then she had to go back to work because I couldn't work anymore. So she literally goes back to work 3 days after a C-section.
Really?
Oh, it was brutal.
Oh.
As soon as they're like, yep, you can go, she's back at work trying to do it. And just because we were in a position where she
No
knew
choice.
no more money was coming in on my end. So we battled through that, and it was. I've said this before to you and a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
This whole story of like going from having this accident to where we are now, as far as Monica and I, and then me too. But it's Monica's story because so much of it I don't even remember. My short-term memory was shot for a while. Monica says that about 5 years is kind of where I started to normalize. And we had to work through a lot of stuff. Certainly some of it I remember, some of it I don't, but it's really her story.
And it's interesting because eventually I want to have Tommy and
Dara.
I was trying to say it right. I didn't want to embarrass myself, and then I stumble anyway. But I want to have Tommy and Derek because I was talking to them in Colorado, and she had a story to tell. It's like I want to talk to you, and I'd like to talk to Monica because I agree, Monica has a story. Like,
yeah, it's when it comes to going from where we were to where we are, a whole bunch of that is her.
Because you want to know inspirational to have your wife stick with you.
Oh
like
man,
through all that stuff.
There was no reason she should have. I was not a friendly person. Like she should have kicked me to the curb and been like, I'm getting out of this. She probably regrets it now because she had an option back then, but no. It was an easy out back then.
Yeah, but
maybe it still is. I don't know.
but she sticks with this, and she essentially just about has a toddler and a baby.
Yeah, she's got. No, she still calls me that. She said I had to raise 5 boys or 4 boys. Excuse me. I've been raising 4 boys, and she includes me in that. So it was definitely a lot of learning curve. When I look at it, her and I kind of have different perspectives on it. I definitely wouldn't. I don't wish what we went through on anyone, but having gone through it so early on in our marriage, we'd only been married 4 years. I think what it's done to help us communicate as a couple without being offended, by being criticized, I think has been worth its weight in gold. We've been married now 23 years, and she and I are business partners. So we work together all the time. Then, of course, we live together because we're married. We're dealing with kids. We're dealing with our business, whatever, as we grow. And some things we agree on, some things we don't, just like any business partners would, and or married couples. But what it's done is it's allowed us we've learned how to communicate to the point where if my wife says, hey, this or this is wrong, like telling me I'm wrong, instead of me building up some big wall of defense and attacking back or whatever, as people do, right?
Yep.
As they feel judged. It's more of like, hey, look, I know you're only telling me this because I need to be better at whatever that is. You're making me better. And so there isn't any of that weird, like, why are you attacking me or whatever? It's strictly like, we've learned how to do this. And Monica's gotten really good at it in the sense that when she tells me I'm doing something, if I'm in the wrong or I blew up or I need to whatever that may be. There's no like I don't go into attack mode. I go into like more, and then I got to think through it, and I could tell her, well, I'm here or there or whatever. But bottom line is all it's done is make me a better person. And I don't think we'd be there without having gone through what we did, or at least not as quick as we got there.
Because she's making the best version of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see your family is one that I would hold as a standard if I had my own kids.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nothing to do with me. Monica does a great job.
But your boys are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones. I feel that I get one of Tristan's emails every week, and then I get to go hang out with Ash whenever possible. And then that son of a gun is climbing those boulders and doing. I see the videos and stuff, and it is amazing that in Preston, you have a child with you that's going to test your limits sometimes. I think
he is, but I mean he is amazing at many things, and one of them is occasionally testing his dad's patience. He's really good at that.
But I see him in the vendor village and stuff like that, and I'm going,
that kid has a talent. He's good with people, isn't he?
He is really good with people, and it is amazing, and you there's the whole, I mean, like I said, you set a standard.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate with our kids. Again, most of that credit I think belongs to their mom.
Well, when I say you, I mean in a general sense.
I know what you mean. I know. Anytime anyone compliments us on our kids, I know what they mean. They mean not you, Sean, but your kids. But I feel like I should say I really enjoyed your kids.
Yeah,
we know they're talking about Monica.
That's right. So no, that's an inspiration to me, and to see that, and you inspire me to dream.
Well, good. I'm glad.
You know what I mean?
I love to dream.
Well, you've helped me. You had belief in me, and when we were doing Total Archer Challenge, I'd come down there and hack on you about. There's a mountain in South Dakota that you should come to. And we kept on. I kept on going to Snowbird and kept on going to Snowbird and hack on you and chat with you, and then you finally came and we did that, and we did that talk, and life is better with the bow. But if people don't know that, I mean, to have somebody believe in you and take a chance to come out and look at a mountain and say, hey, do you think to believe in that the vision that
you had the vision, yes,
of what we could do, and then for you to come, and that is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think I'm super excited for your podcast. I love the Don't Die Rusty. I absolutely love it. We've played on the Rick Isms before.
Yep.
At Total Archery Challenge, and I think we should continue to do that. One of the things when you were telling me you wanted to launch this podcast that I was super excited about is, that when we bring you up a lot, my kids love you, Monica loves you. I just go along. No, but anyway, the one thing we've said is when I was telling Monica, hey, he's doing the podcast, whatever, she says, I think that's awesome because your whole message is it, and you see it no matter where we go, no matter where you are, who you're with, your objective is to bring out the best, wherever you're at. Like, life is good. Everyone has struggles. Some have harder ones than others, but amongst all that struggle, there's still a positive thing to find in life. There's a way to find happiness. And I've loved that you're like, hey, don't die rusty. How old are you? You're 55 years old. You're out there jumping off the tower in Vegas or doing your spread eagle jump off whatever you can find at TAC, and you're making snow angels, and you're doing all this stuff that just keeps you young and happy and excited. And I think it's motivating. It certainly is for me on my part. And if somebody's around you who's normally conservative, and Jesse, and then they lighten up too.
They do lighten up.
Yeah. And I think that's huge. And that to me, don't die rusty. I mean, that's 100% who you are.
Well, that's good. Because you saw when I came in today.
Yeah, you were wearing the TAC Ninja, TAC Ninja suit.
But what happened was before we left the hotel, I talked to the valet and I said, I want to go with you. And I walked down there and then I changed into it. We pulled up there. He pulled up. and we have
Yeah.
we have a van, and I jumped out of the van and just took off running down the street. And you know,
That's so rad. Did anyone film it?
yes, it's filmed. but
Excuse me, I
what
need to see that. That's hilarious.
what you're talking about is, I look at myself as, there are people that need that stuff and
Yeah.
say, what in the world does that guy do? You
Yep,
know what I
yep.
mean?
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
crazy because when you put smiles on people's faces, that makes me happy.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to live, and I think you've embodied it. And I think the idea behind your podcast, which we're on right
Yeah.
now, incidentally, embodies that very thing. And I can't help but think you're going to inspire a lot of people to just lighten up and enjoy life and don't be sedentary.
Exactly.
Just find something to do.
And it's not about body, it's about mind, it's about soul, it's
Exactly.
about spirit. And I know we're going to be getting to the end here in a bit, but I want to. So I just got done talking to Frank,
Mm-hmm.
and we went back into his. He talked a little bit about his addiction.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Yes, I am giving you a kudos here, but he told me about
I don't
you.
think so.
Well, yes, because you stuck with him and stood with him through when he was starting to clean up.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And to have a friend like that is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, no, Frank was a good dude, and that was a man, that's been a long time ago. That was a struggle to watch, and I'll tell you, it was hard to sit there too. But it's also hard to watch him go through it. You know, Frank and I have been friends since I was 14 years old, and I'm 46 now, so whatever that adds up to, 32 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So 32 years we've been friends, and that was a struggle to watch. And so I'm just grateful that he is where he is, sober.
Yeah.
For a long time, 20 something years now.
Amazing.
And a heck of a guy to have on the team.
He is. You know, we were talking about early, we talked about his addiction and how you helped him get out of it. And I said nasty words to him, and he stuck with me. And he says, I owe Sean DeGrey everything.
Well, I don't think he owes me anything. I think anybody would do that for their buddy as long as they're progressing.
Well, yes.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah. So as long as they're progressing, I think I would hope that my friends would do the same thing if they know I'm trying to progress. And you just got to know, like, man, that is not Frank talking. This dude's not Frank.
Yeah.
He's in there and he's got to come out, but we got to get rid of all the garbage first.
But that's what I talk about is this TAC family that I have to say you created.
Yeah. Monica and I, for sure.
Well, yeah, like I say, when I talk about you, I mean, I'm talking, but what you guys have created is all this, the tight family, would do anything for those people.
Absolutely. 100%.
You know, and that's something you created.
Yeah.
And that helps everybody don't die rusty, because when you know you can count on somebody, it's that amazing feeling. Yeah, I can make a phone call and talk to that person. If I'm in trouble, I just need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is what
it's motivating.
It is motivating to have that tight knit crew. And it's Don't Die Rusty is about surrounding yourself with the best people you can.
That's right. That's right.
And Frank told me when in the episode just before you here, he said he was surrounded with bad people. Not bad people, but people he shouldn't have been around.
Yeah.
And now he surrounds himself with good people. Yep. And that's the message I want to say, is surround yourself with the people that are going to make you better.
That's right.
You know,
surround yourself with people you look up to, and you'll try to emulate that.
Because I try, even though some days are cloudy, but get a sunrise. How many we were talking about, like going to the top of the mountain with Frank, but me and you, was it the last 2 or 3 years?
At Big Sky.
At Big Sky, we get that last Sunday.
Drive up on the last Sunday to the top and watch the sunrise. It sounds kind of weirdly romantic.
It does.
I guess it is, in a platonic way, in a brotherly way.
We'll just say a brotherly way. But it's fun. We've seen some great sunrises up there, man.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. And I agree with you on the sunrise thing. You and I have discussed this, and here's something about a sunrise. There is no time that is quieter than the sunrise.
No.
Like, you can stay out all night. There is no time as quiet as the sunrise.
No. And it's also one of those you have to get up to see it. You can't. Anybody can see a sunset because
Mhm.
you're usually around up and down. But to
Right.
get up, to get your body moving, and get your mind going. But when we get our body moving, and then we go out to see the sunrise, and like you said, that time, that silence, that uh, whatever, that spiritual
Yeah,
time
meditation.
that we have up there, because it's interesting because don't go me and you don't talk sometimes when we're up there. We talk on the way up,
Yep.
but and we talk there, but there's like maybe a 5 or 10 minute time that we don't talk, and we're just going
Yep.
in
You just
awe of
gotta
what God
enjoy it.
has created.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, I think that's part of the draw of, for example, Total Archery Challenge. I guided throughout my early life in Alaska and Montana. And I love outside.
Mhm.
And there's something amazing about that moment of sunrise. So when you're guiding, you see every sunrise,
Yeah.
right? Because you're up, you got to be in your spot before then.
Yep.
And just enjoying that quiet period. I think it's it's a good decompression to get rid of whatever it is you're packing, that heavy burden, whatever it is, that you can breathe through that in a sunrise.
Yes.
And I think that that's super important. And I also think that it's very motivating mentally and spiritually to be like, all right, I can do this today. I can make today.
And yes, because I think that creating your mood for the day right away in the morning is
Yeah.
how your day will go.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I do wake up angry, like you have a bad dream or something, but I
Yeah.
can I can take my Bella Mountain Dog and
Yep.
I can go for the walk. And if it's summer where the sun's coming up, not like winter where I'm walking in the dark and get back in the
Yeah.
dark and going to work in the dark. But
Yeah.
but you can have a bad dream. I'm just saying, and you can go for that walk, and you can start seeing the sunrise. Then the 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 cotton candy sky, and
Mhm.
you know what? That was just a dream. My
Yeah.
day's going to get better because I
Yeah.
get to see what has been created.
Was it Dave Brinker? There's a song out there, something about a sunrise. I'm pretty sure it's Dave Brinker.
I think it is.
You need to find that link, put it on the podcast. He has a song called Something About a Sunrise, and it embodies what you and I are talking about.
It is.
Like, because there's something about a sunrise.
Yes, and we're made to enjoy everything that we can see around us and take that time.
Yep. Yep. It's awesome.
I used to drive Cindy crazy because I I
Used
don't
to?
I went I still do, but it's interesting because I stop. You aren't going to get that picture back. Actually, you know who I drive more crazy is I I I do a lot of stuff with Jesse and Ashley Kurtenbach,
Yep. Yep.
and
You're very nostalgic.
yes, I am.
Yeah.
But Jesse is one of those people that didn't like, what are you stopping for? Well, see that? There's a picture right there. It's like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
me and Ashley can laugh. What's that Dairy Queen there for? It has ice cream.
Well, okay, you had me at ice cream.
but anyway, no, it's great to talk to people that inspire people and bring people
Yeah.
together.
That's why I love podcasts. I love the idea of it. I think you probably inspire more people than you think you do. In fact, I know you do. Just in the sense of bringing a smile to people's face. I will say your laugh, which everybody's heard here on the podcast and will continue to, it's recognizable wherever you are.
All right.
And you can hear it. When we're at TAC, I'm like, I'll look at Monica, be like, Rick's here. She's like, yep.
Well, at least that's a good thing to be known for.
Is there anything that could be better? I think
No,
that's fantastic.
and I just want to thank you for all you do.
Yeah,
I think also a Don't Die Rusty thing is to show appreciation to the people that really
absolutely.
influence you, and then I just want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I think you've been as big a part of it, and you're obviously a part of the TAC family. What you and I were talking about, and I agree with that. You need to part of not dying rusty is recognizing those that are the good things around you, and being grateful for it.
It is, and I'll always be grateful.
Yeah, I mean, if you're walking around counting your blessings, if you will, I think it's hard to be it's harder to be unhappy. And I'm not saying there's things out there that are going to drive you down, but there's certainly a lot of good blessings too.
Exactly.
And it all comes in with the people that are around you that just want to. If you're around a bunch of negativity, chances are you're gonna be negative.
Exactly. You
You're-
listen to negative music, you listen to negative whatever,
Yeah.
you're going to be negative. So
Oh.
we in the podcast, I'm going to ask one last question.
I'm ready.
What's the good life to Sean DeGrey?
A good life?
What's the good life?
The good life? I don't know. I feel like I'm in it. I feel like I'm in the good life. I think it's having your health about you and being able to do things you love, whether it's seeing every sunrise or being happy with where I'm at with my kids and my wife and with God. And so the good life, I think, is being in a position to chase your dreams and do things you want. And that's where I'm at right now.
Well, you are.
And I'm grateful for it because it could all disappear tomorrow. And if it did, I still have an incredible wife and kids and friends. We still have the Tack family, whether that disappeared tomorrow or not.
Exactly.
And so I think I'm in it.
Because it's interesting. I think about not if I died today, we'll
Mhm.
just say,
Yeah.
God forbid,
Yeah.
because I don't.
You trip going out the trailer.
I trip.
gone.
I jump off the stratosphere, but I trip going
Yeah,
out the trailer. I'm done.
And you weren't hooked up.
Yep. But I think to myself, am I at peace with the life I've lived?
Yeah.
And right now, with Don't Die Rusty coming, knowing the people I know, and knowing that my life is way better than it's ever been in my whole life, I reckon, in a lot of areas,
Mm-hmm.
I am at peace.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Don't Die Rusty, because I have some things that I want to put out there here in a future cast, but I just think that we need to spray the rust off of people, get that negativity gone,
Yeah.
and have people be at peace. Because being angry or being a pot stirrer, being whatever you are, isn't making the world a better place.
No.
But being a genuine person, and you don't have to be nice to me, but as long as you're nice to someone.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it's not saying that there aren't people that I don't want to hang out with, if you will, but I think one of the things I've learned over time is, if there's no time to talk trash on someone.
No,
Don't take the time because it doesn't matter, and it's not going to make them any worse or you any better
no, and
by talking about it. Like, find the people you want to be like, or whatever that goal is of yours, and be that.
because I think there's jealousy.
There's gotta be.
In the aspect, if I'm knocking you, there's jealousy because I want to be like you.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm going to knock you down to my level, and that's where I'm going. You aren't going to do that to me.
Yeah, no, I think trying to pursue that. I love those things where it's like, make every day count because you never know when it's your last.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that is. I'm not saying that I hit that every day because there's some days where the day's over and I'm like,
well, yeah,
I probably should have accomplished more.
And
today.
everybody does that.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's great to just be able to sit here with friends in Las Vegas and enjoy the conversations we have, and
Yeah.
I thank you for all you've done.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
I think I'm gonna our conversation is about done here because you need to get back to work probably and
Get to work and then fly home, actually.
Yeah, and then chase those cats around here, I mean,
Yeah.
you're herding cats sometimes, I think.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, at least these cats listen. But
They do. You got a good crew out there.
we do. We have one of the best crews out there, and I struggle to think we could have a better crew. And it's just good to have everybody who keeps coming back year after year after year, and to make Tack what it is on the internal side.
Yep.
Which I think helps reflect what it is on the outside.
Yep.
And we're just grateful for everybody we have, that especially the participants, our sponsors, vendors that come, that make it the greatest 3D archery event in the world.
It certainly, to me, it is the world's best.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Life gets better with a boat. No,
But I'm going to end this by thank you, Monica, for helping Sean be who Sean is.
That's right.
All right.
100%.
So,
all right, man. Appreciate it.
So everybody, you keep being the best you, keep chasing your dreams, and don't die rusty. Thank you, man.
All right.